Good morning. I hope you're doing well. Lucy and I are leaving this morning for our first Living in the South adventure. I'm really excited. She and I are going to Asheville, North Carolina, and we'll be staying for 3 nights. I found a little Airbnb that's pet friendly, so that's why I'm bringing Lucy with me. And Dex is staying home, and he's going to be taken care of by my friend Jen, who used to be a cat sitter. So she's resurrecting her cat sitting skills and going to be watching Dex while I'm gone. If you're new here, welcome in. I'm Kimberly. This is Pretty Over 50, where we talk everything makeup, skincare, and lifestyle for the over 50 woman. I hope you'll consider subscribing while you're here and make sure you click that notification bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. I have heard so much about Asheville, North Carolina, that it's just a darling town. It's really worth seeing, and the Biltmore estate is there. I'm going to be making my first visit to the Biltmore estate. From what I hear, you could literally spend a week there looking at all the different things to see. This is my first visit, so I'm going to be primarily focusing on the gardens, I think. I'm not really sure. That remains to be seen. I also want to spend a little bit of time in downtown Asheville. I've just heard so many wonderful things about it. Great restaurants, great shops, just a really fun culture. The drive is going to take me about 3 hours. I go pretty slow and stop when I need to. I'll probably stop along the way and let Lucy out for a little walk, and then we'll get settled into the Airbnb, and I will see you guys then. This is home for Lucy and I for the next couple of days. This is the Airbnb I've rented in Asheville, North Carolina. And as you can see, it's really one large room. And this is the bottom floor of a home right outside of downtown Asheville. I think it took me maybe 5 minutes to get here from downtown. This particular Airbnb is pet friendly. So what I have found with pet-friendly Airbnbs is they're not as fancy or upscale as a lot of Airbnbs that don't allow pets, which makes perfect sense, because if you're going to have people's pets in here, you want to make sure that nothing can get ruined very, very easily. The dimensions of this room, gosh, I'm trying to figure out, maybe 30 by, 20? 25, something like that. It's all one room. It is broken into a living room, kitchen, and bedroom area. It really is quite cute. And the nice thing for Lucy over there is there's a fenced backyard that we just got through running around in. Well, she ran around. I mostly just watched her run around. It does have a kitchen that you can cook in and a big refrigerator. And I actually sometimes cook or just maybe put together dishes in an Airbnb. I don't really cook a full whole meal because it just seems to be so much more trouble in someone else's kitchen than my kitchen. But this has everything you need. There's a stove over there onto the left of the refrigerator. You can see that blue crate right there is Lucy's travel crate. I love that thing. It folds down flat into nothing and weighs about, less than a pound. It is just so very light and convenient. So she's sleeping right next to me, where I'll be on the bed. Back to the kitchen, we have a stove, refrigerator, sink, and this older stove here is not functional. They're just using it as a decorative element and also to store some of the dishes, which I think is cute. And then she's done a wonderful thing and put a Keurig for coffee people in the morning. I actually brought my own, so I didn't use that this morning. This is super cute. They put blackboard paint around the door to the bathroom. The bathroom's right behind that door. I'd show it to you, but it's nothing. It's just a toilet and that sort of thing. So what she's done is it's welcome to Asheville, and they have a listing of their favorite restaurants, breweries, and hikes. I just think that that is so very handy. I'm actually going to take a picture of that restaurant list and keep it on my phone so when I'm out and about, I can check and see if any of those restaurants are near where I am and I can stop in and have a meal there. So the door to the back patio is right there, back patio with the table, chairs, and then of course the fenced yard area for Lucy Lou, and then a tall table over here. Really very comfortable, super affordable. I'm paying under $100 a night for this particular Airbnb. They range anywhere from 60, 70, 80 on up to hundreds a night, and sometimes more if you're looking for something incredibly fancy. I have stayed in quite a number of Airbnbs throughout the years. Probably right at the very beginning when Airbnb started, I jumped on it and really did enjoy it. And as a matter of fact, when I was living up in Incline Village at Lake Tahoe, I actually Airbnb'd my place out when I was doing extended traveling. So I've been on both sides, both as a host and as a guest. As a matter of fact, the one time that I Airbnb'd my place out for an extended period was when I got an Airbnb in Florence, Italy, for 2 months during the winter season in Tahoe. I don't ski, so it was a great time for me to skedaddle out of town, go to Florence, enjoy the warmer weather. It was like 50, 60 degrees in Florence, which was fine for me, and rent my place to someone who was an avid skier. So it really worked well for both of us. I did have someone ask me, how do you choose an Airbnb? How do you know what's a good one? And that is a super easy answer. Airbnb, when you go on their site and let's say you type in a city, Asheville, North Carolina, where I am, they will list the Airbnbs that are available during your trip dates. So you type in where you want to go, and then you type in the dates that you're looking at, and they will bring up an entire list with photos and descriptions of the Airbnbs that are available for your vacation time. In addition, Airbnb is just like Amazon in that there's a rating system. As a guest, I am invited at the end of my trip to rate everything about the Airbnb, from the check-in to the communication with the host, to the comfortability of the Airbnb, to was it like the description. Everything almost that you can think of as a criteria for enjoyment of the stay is listed when you go to rate the Airbnb. In addition, you can actually type out a description of your trip, how the Airbnb was, how the host was, everything. So it's a very well monitored system in that not only do I rate the host, but the host will rate me. So when I go to apply and you kind of ask to stay in Airbnb, the host can go look at your profile and see what other hosts have written about you. Were you noisy? Were you messy? Were you obnoxious? Were you clean? Were you kind? Were you considerate? That sort of thing. So it's a two-way street on Airbnb. Not only do I get to rate the comfortability of my stay and whether it was like it was described, but the host will also rate me as a guest. So I think it actually works pretty well. One thing that I do notice about Airbnb now, and gosh, it's a little bit of a disappointment, but I suppose it's just market forces, is now that Airbnb is so established, it's much more expensive. The prices have really gone up. When I first started with Airbnb, it was super, super inexpensive. And I'll give you an example. I went to Florence for 2 months and I stayed in an Airbnb, just one Airbnb that entire time. And gosh, I don't remember how long ago. Maybe it was been 6 or 7 years. I can't remember the exact time it's been, but it was still fairly early in Airbnb's existence. I got an incredibly beautiful apartment that was renovated in an old building that was originally a large house that was broken into different apartments. My apartment was very big. It had a loft bedroom, a full kitchen, a great bathroom with a bathtub shower, plenty of room, and a living room area that was large that included the dining area. In addition, there was a pull-out couch, and I actually had a girlfriend come and stay with me for about a week while I was there, and she was very comfortable there. It was a beautiful apartment, literally half a block from the Duomo. So I could hear the church bells ring from my bed at night. It was just so romantic and so lovely. And I paid $850 a month for that Airbnb in Florence, Italy. It was in the off season. It was, let's see, February, end of January, all of February, and then part of March. What I discovered though is that if I ever go back to Italy, I will definitely go in that winter season, because Italy to me is warm during the winter. It's only 50 and 60 degrees. It might rain a little bit, mostly it just mists on you. The streets are empty. It's not crowded. You can get into any museum without having to wait. It's lovely. I had the best 2 months there. It was just charming and delightful and great, and in the off season. So the landlord or the host was more than willing to offer me such a great rate for an entire 2 months in Florence. So there are opportunities with Airbnb, and I have before messaged a host and asked them, will you give me a rate for an extended period? I do notice that they are offering deeply discounted rates for month-long stays now, so I think they've kind of caught on, and I probably wouldn't need to send that email today, but it definitely is an opportunity for you to talk with the host if you want to make an offer or kind of negotiate on your trip. So today I am off to Biltmore Estates, and I'm going to do the outdoor gardens today. I'm not actually going to go inside the house. I think that might be tomorrow. I'm just going to tour the outdoor gardens and get to know the property. I'm really looking forward to it. You know, I realize that we're in the fall season, so we're not going to have all the flowers and that sort of thing that you would have in spring and summer, but I'm still looking forward to seeing what they do with that property. I've seen some photos. I've never been before. This is my first trip. I think it's going to be spectacular, and I'll take you along with me. So my heart just skipped a beat. When I turned the corner to where I am now, I'm in the walled garden, which is right next to the conservatory. I think a huge greenhouse. Fancy name for a huge greenhouse. It is so beautiful in here. I'm going to take you guys around. It feels enchanted. It feels like a secret garden. Of course, because it's fall, things aren't blooming like they would be in the spring and summer, but it's still just magical. I'll give you some shots of this area. Apparently, the landscape architect, whose name was, I believe, Olmsted, had a hand in a lot of the designs of the garden around the property. It is just stunningly beautiful. They're working on the fall plantings right now, and you can see this sea of mums that they put in. These are going to open up and just be an absolute cascade of blooms all along this planter beds. And over here, you can see they're just now installing some fall and winter plantings. Looks like they have some decorative kale, more mums. Look at those purple mums. Oh my gosh, aren't those stunning? So they're busy little beavers making this place beautiful for the next season. Here we have another sea of mums. Look at how many mums there are planted here. There must be 100 plants or more. That's just going to explode into colorful blooms and look so pretty for the fall season. I'm at the back of the walled garden, and it opens up into this conservatory area. The architecture of that building is just gorgeous. And of course, the garden design around it really complements the style. It leads you into the building in such an enticing way. So I'm going to go in here and see what they've got going on in the big fancy greenhouse. I've been tromping around the gardens at the Biltmore estate now for a few hours. I'm getting a little hungry. I think I'm going to go look for a yummy lunch. Good morning. I hope you're doing well. I do want to talk with you about my experience yesterday at the Biltmore House in the gardens. But first, I want to share with you a story that happened to me when I first got here. To put it into context, I want to talk about the pace of a city or a town. So if we were to quantify the pace of a city from 1 to 10, I would probably give New York and Los Angeles a 10. San Francisco would probably be a 9, and then all the other cities would fall, down below it. I think probably LA and New York are our most fast-paced, frenetic, just a lot going on cities. Aiken, where I live now, would be a 0.005. I'm not kidding you. There are weeks, I'm sure, that my car never gets over 35 miles an hour. I can walk to the farmer's market. I can walk downtown. The pace of life is just so slow and so peaceful and so calm. And I've really acclimated to that. And at this point in my life, Lucy's over here. She's right here. You want to say hi, sweetheart? At this point in my life, I absolutely love it. I think in my younger years, it wouldn't have worked for me, but right now it's absolutely perfect. So I hopped in the car, Lucy and I hopped in the car, and we drove here to Asheville, North Carolina for this little 3-night adventure. And I'll tell you what, I had to drive on like a real freeway to get here and then drive through downtown. I stopped in downtown and had some lunch. And oh my gosh, it felt overwhelming because I have been so used to a different pace since I moved to Aiken. Honey, can we sit or something? There you go. Good job. Okay. All right. So I'll tell you, it hit me by surprise, but I was really kind of overwhelmed and not in a good way. It felt too much. It felt busy. It felt congested. And Asheville is not a big city. It's a smaller city, probably a little bit more busy downtown than some small cities, but oh my gosh. So I got to the Airbnb and checked in and everything was fine with that. And I was talking on the phone to a girlfriend and I said, you know what? I think I'm just going to get up in the morning and go home because I can't do this anymore. That just cracks me up because I have traveled so much. I used to love to go to New York for a week and do the theaters and that sort of thing. And I took the girls for several years. We would go for a week and go to the theater all week long, every night and then twice on Wednesday and Sunday when they had the matinees. So I woke up the next morning and I felt a lot better. I guess I'd kind of got into the energy here or something, and I've been having a fabulous time. I'm so glad that I ended up staying, but I just wanted to share that little story with you because it's like, beware if you move to a small town, you might not be able to do the big girl cities anymore. The tour around the gardens of the Biltmore House yesterday was fabulous. It is an 8,000-acre estate, and that's about all I know about the Biltmore House because I just toured the gardens. I didn't do any of the internal tours or the audio tours where you learn a lot. I did tour the gardens, and oh my gosh, it was really spectacular. I can see the beauty of coming back in the spring and early summer when everything is in bloom. They have a spring garden, an azalea garden, an Italian garden, a beautiful conservatory, which you guys saw. It is really stunning. And, even though the opulence kind of makes me feel uncomfortable in the sense that there was just so many people living on just a nickel back then, and to see someone who had so much, I understand that and I acknowledge that. However, one thing I can say is I do think that he spent money on beauty, beautiful gardens, beautiful grounds, and I think that beauty is its own reward. Really enjoyed the gardens. I'm going to be going back today for an in-the-house tour at 1 o'clock today. It's an audio tour, and I don't know how long it's going to last. I suppose it's self-guided, as much time as you want to spend in a particular area, you can spend. I will probably be in the house a couple of hours. I will take you guys along with me, but I can't film in there. They don't allow filming, but they do allow photos. So I'm going to take my phone and just take a lot of photos. So you'll see me in still photos throughout the house, and then I'll kind of catch you guys up with what I learned and what my thoughts are and that sort of thing. One thing I can say is that even though it's a very slow time of the year, it was really pretty busy yesterday. And when I booked my tour for today, all the early times were sold out. So if you're planning on coming, I think planning ahead is a good idea. I did not. I would just sort of came and was flying by the seat of my pants and just got my tickets for today last night online. My thoughts about Asheville, North Carolina, it is stunningly beautiful. So very pretty. And, I'm looking outside. I'm looking out the window right now. Just the natural foliage and trees and that sort of thing. It's just so very pretty and lush and reminds me a lot of Oregon, in that it's very lush, very green, a lot of diversity in the plant life. The housing is individually built houses down windy roads in a regular size lot, so it's not that same house after house after house after house. It's very unique and very creative. And one thing that I've noticed here that is very reminiscent of San Francisco is that there's unique and creative use of color on the houses. A lot of the homes are older and they have the more decorative trim, more detail on the exterior of the house. And a lot of the homes are painted different colors for different trim areas. It's just really very pretty. I love this area. It feels a little bit more mountain-like, and of course the Blue Ridge Mountains are, right here, I'm pretty sure. Of course, I'm new to the area, so if I misspeak, I apologize. But it feels a little bit crisper. It's cold in the morning. It feels a little more like the foothills of Northern California, where it has that almost mountainous type of feel. I really do enjoy this type of area. So I'm having a blast. I've had some great food while I'm here. There's a park right across the street. Lucy and I go and walk in the park every morning. She loves that. So it's been a lot of fun. And once I got over actually being in a real life, city, things really have become quite adventurous and a good time. So I am now headed off to Home Goods because I need just a few more things for the house. I've got my daughter coming in a few weeks and I want to have everything in her guest bedroom all set up. We don't have a Home Goods in Aiken. We really have very few chain stores in Aiken. We don't have a Sephora, we don't have an Ulta. We do have a Target. I think there's a Costco outside of town. I haven't been there. We have a Target, we have a Walmart, and grocery stores. We do have a Hobby Lobby, so there's that. I'm going to do a little round at Home Goods this morning, come back, have a bit of a breakfast before I go for the tour, and I will see you guys on the grounds of the Biltmore House. Lucy and I have come to the end of our little road trip to Asheville, North Carolina. The car is all packed up and we're actually on our way out of town, but I thought, I wonder if there's a little something I can stop by and see on my way out of town early in the morning before we go. And I hopped online and I found this. This is one of the most interesting farmers market concepts I've ever seen. First of all, it's called the WNC Farmers Market. I think that stands for Western North Carolina, but I'm not sure. If you're local here and you know, put it down below. What it is the largest farmers market I've ever heard of. It is on a property like a small fairgrounds, and there's lots of large buildings like this. This is called a market building, and here there are families that have little booths, kind of like a little antique mall or something, and they're selling their produce and canned good items like chow chow, jams, jellies. I haven't really looked around yet. I'll take you with me when I do. And you can buy directly from the families who farm in this area. In addition, there's another building down the way that is called the shed area. And there you actually drive your car up and you buy produce directly from the farmers who brought it in from the field. It's called farm to fender. In other words, it comes from the farm and you put it in your car. Just the coolest concept. I'm going to go ahead and look around and see what they have here. There are actually 2 market buildings. I'm in one, and then there's another one. As you end up out of this one, you go into another building. In addition, across the drive here, there's a full nursery, like a full garden nursery. I'll probably pop in there just for a minute or two. Anyway, I'm so excited to be here. I can't wait to see what I'm going to find. I'm going to collect Lucy now and take her down to the shed area and see how the farmers put the produce up or sort it up. I don't know. It just sounds like a whole lot of fun. So I'm going to go check that out. I want to thank you so much for joining me for this little road trip to Asheville, North Carolina. I've had a great time here. It is such a charming and delightful little town, little city, big town. I'm not sure what you would call it. Again, I'm Kimberly. This is Pretty Over 50, where we talk everything makeup, skincare, and lifestyle. Pretty Over 50 woman. I just want to thank you for taking a few minutes out of your day to spend it with me. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you. Make it a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.